Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today we are breaking down a massive public health emergency and a law enforcement crackdown that strikes, quite literally, right at the center of your daily breakfast table. We're diving into the severe dairy crisis currently unfolding in Maharashtra, where the stakes, well, they absolutely couldn't be higher for your family's long-term health.
So I want to start by asking you a serious question. What is really inside the milk you gave your children this morning? Actually pause and just think about that for a second. Because we aren't talking about some farmer simply watering down his milk supply to make a quick buck. No way. We're talking about millions of liters of a hidden, highly toxic chemical cocktail that's being brewed from scratch in dirty warehouses.
Get this, the Food and Drug Administration of Maharashtra, under the remarkably strict leadership of Commissioner Tukaram Mundhe, just launched a historic crackdown. And the scale of this thing, it is absolutely mind-boggling. His teams recently busted a massive syndicate that successfully manufactured and pumped 2.3 crore liters of completely synthetic milk right into the supply chain. Think about that, over 2 crore liters of pure poison disguised as your daily nutrition. But the crime network doesn't just stop at liquid milk. It extends right into solid dairy, too. The FDA revealed that a staggering 40% of all Paneer samples tested across the entire state were identified as completely fake. We're talking about incredibly dangerous, unsafe, analog Paneer being sold openly to everyday families and even to premium restaurants. Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1. Redefining adulteration, or the silk shirt analogy. To truly wrap our heads around why this news has sent shockwaves through millions of homes, we really need to completely unlearn what fake food actually means. We have to redefine adulteration. So let's use a simple real-world analogy. Most of us assume food adulteration just means dilution, right? Like, imagine buying a premium silk shirt. If the merchant gives you a shirt that's, say, 80% silk and 20% cheap cotton, well, that's standard adulteration. You got ripped off, sure, but the shirt is still a shirt. It's still wearable. That's like adding water to real cow's milk. But what the FDA uncovered here is something entirely different. It's synthetic fabrication. Imagine a rogue manufacturer making a shirt completely out of toxic, melted industrial plastics, spraying it with a synthetic silk scent, and slapping a fake luxury label on it. It looks and feels like silk, but the moment it touches your skin, it triggers a severe burning allergic reaction. That is what we are dealing with here. This synthetic milk has never even seen the inside of a cow. It's an entirely artificial compound, engineered from the ground up to mimic natural dairy. All right, moving on to Section 2, the forensic lab. Let's look inside this toxic recipe. So, how exactly are they pulling this off? Let's step into the forensic lab and examine the exact cause and effect process this syndicate uses to create what is essentially a chemical weapon. The physical evidence seized from the raided units exposed a step-by-step recipe that is, quite frankly, terrifying. It's a chillingly simple 4-part chemistry lab recipe. Step 1, the counterfeiters start with a giant vat of ordinary water and pour in massive quantities of cheap palm oil to introduce artificial fat content. Step 2, they literally add commercial laundry detergent or liquid soap. Step 3, they throw in massive amounts of cheap starch, glucose powder, or sometimes even blotting paper pulp to artificially thicken the liquid. And finally, Step 4, they mix in industrial urea. Now let's break down exactly why they use these specific, highly toxic ingredients. Now, what's really interesting about this process is the role of that laundry detergent. As we all remember from basic kitchen science, oil and water naturally separate, right? They just don't mix. So to override the laws of physics, these criminals use washing powder as an emulsifier. It forces the palm oil and the water to permanently bind together into this smooth, uniform liquid. But it also has a brilliantly deceptive secondary benefit. The soap creates a rich, thick surface foam that perfectly mimics the natural froth of freshly milked dairy. And then there's the industrial urea. Once the liquid is thickened with starch so it can pass a standard density meter, they still have to pass the nutritional tests. Urea is a chemical compound that's super high in nitrogen. By adding this stuff, it completely fools the basic testing equipment used by dairy cooperatives into reading a high, healthy protein count. The final result? Well, it smells, tastes, and chemically tests exactly like rich, high-protein milk. Let's move to Section 3 and see how this builds into real consequences for the consumer. The fallout and the ban. So, how does a massive dairy ban and a fake Paneer scandal actually impact your daily life and your family's physical health? First, we have to look at the devastating medical hazards. I mean, ingesting commercial laundry detergent and industrial urea on a daily basis is the equivalent of drinking slow poison. Doctors have even issued an urgent national alert about this. Long-term consumption of this synthetic milk causes severe, absolutely irreversible erosion of the gastrointestinal lining. It triggers chronic stomach ulcers, permanently damages liver tissues, leads to acute kidney failure, and floods the cardiovascular system with toxic trans fats that drastically raise the risk of early heart attacks. This isn't just a stomachache. This is a structural threat to life expectancy. So the crucial point is the government's radical reaction to all of this. Recognizing that the primary distribution pipeline for these toxic counterfeits is the unorganized market, Maharashtra has enforced an absolute immediate ban on the sale of all loose, unpackaged milk across the state. That means no local dairy or street vendor is legally allowed to dispense milk out of open metal cans anymore. Everything, literally everything, must be securely sealed inside tamper-proof branded pouches at a registered factory, which completely cuts off the syndicate's open-air blending points. Which brings us to Section 4, Self-Defense. Let's talk about the home lab tests. Government bans are great, but they're only the first shield. True defense happens right in your very own kitchen. And this brilliantly illustrates what you can do right now. I want to equip you with the exact rapid home safety tests you can execute tonight to protect your family from these counterfeits. First up, the milk test. Take a small sample of your milk, mix it with an equal amount of water in a clear bottle, and just shake it vigorously for 30 seconds. Real milk will form a thin, natural foam that rapidly pops and vanishes. But synthetic milk, it'll form thick, dense soap suds that stay completely stable for minutes. Because, well, you're literally shaking up laundry detergent. Second, for the paneer. Boil a small piece in water, let it cool down, and drop a few drops of standard iodine solution right on it. If it remains a normal color, you're good. It's real dairy fat. But if it turns a deep, dark blue, that is definitive proof the block is loaded with cheap, counterfeit starch. Food counterfeiting has evolved into a highly dangerous, sophisticated corporate crime network. Ultimately, the very last line of defense is your own personal vigilance. True food safety begins with an informed consumer. So I'm going to leave you with this provocative question to challenge your grocery habits. Now that the terrifying chemistry behind synthetic dairy has been completely exposed, will you blindly trust your daily milk supply, or will you start testing it tonight? Take these tools, test your food, and stay safe out there. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer.